What's up everyone, this is ScherBR talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we'll be talking about the special rerun banner that brings 5 characters back in the game. We have the third version of Matriarch here, leading the people. This one is pretty strong and meta for some hard challenges. There is Global X, Undine, a water festival. This one is a dexterity debuffer with heal options. There is Boston ordered up Shrimp Gyoza. This character here is a endurance debuffer and can't buff agility by passive. Then we have human Forn, Sinistro of the Sea, a very strong farmer with access to 3 elemental attacks for 2 wave cycles, and Ferdinand, last line of defense, a character that deals slash and pierce damage and buffs the squad, but it's actually a little mediocre. Let's just click here on some details and talk about some stuff. First of all, there's no chance of off banner here. There's 5% total for WS, and you can get one of each of these styles every time that you drop an SS. Well, we have to talk first about Matriarch. Leading the people is a very important style in the game because of the skill called Peon of Peace. This is extremely useful because it buffs dexterity, will, love, and charisma. And the good thing, you can buff an offensive status dexterity so that your gunners, archers, and happier users will do more damage, but the other 3 things are defensive. Will decrease the damage from magical attacks, love will increase the heal that you perform, and charisma will increase the heal that you receive. So there are strategies with heal will be better, strategies to decrease magical damage will be better, also to resist status augments. And dexterity based characters like Leon that are now in the meta will just benefit from this a lot. So this by itself is already reason to summon for this Matriarch, but she's not just about that, she also has Gleaming Way. This is a fast attack that can be used 3 times in a row, and it hits Undead and Demon for critical damage. And it's easy to use fast attackers, sometimes you need just extra damage to finish a wave with another farmer. She's just gonna help a lot. I have been using her with Gleaming Way a lot, and the newest version of Matriarch, the 4th version on the older banner, benefits from this as well. She can use 3 fast attacks in a row with a strong opener. And then the last attack is Ritual of Wisdom. This is a single target attack that's strong by itself and also gives everyone 1 BP. This can fix some cycles since some characters lack only 1 BP to do strong attacks again on turn 2. So very valuable attack, piercing some damage. Very nice. This version of Matriarch has very good STR, and she also recovers BP and HP on the end of a turn. That's why she can use Peon of Peace so many times, buff some damage to the squad, and do more damage when attacking weak targets. So one of the best characters in the game, one of the highest valuable characters for hard challenges. There is no reason for you to not pursue it as one, unless you really don't care about hard challenges. Some people don't, so no worries. This version of Matriarch is better even than the 4th one if you are thinking for long-term investment, since you can find alternatives to heal yourself, but there's no other character that can buff these 4 status like this version of Matriarch can. Well, the best character, if you get her fast, you can even skip all the other ones if you are only needing of her, since power just increases and Matriarch is one of the only characters that stays in the meta forever. Then there is Forn. This guy here is actually pretty powerful, used him even more than I expected. Can buff his cold damage with the first skill, but this one is not even important, to be honest. The thing is, he can use Hydro Cyclone, an 8 BP attack that has piercing cold damage, and because he starts with 13, he can use it twice, and it's super useful in farming. Not just this attack, but he can import another one called Spinning Trample that switches the cold damage for blunt. That one is even stronger and more useful most of the time, but Hydro Cyclone is already strong enough for itself. The S style that you can acquire Spinning Trample is limited, you may not have it access right now. And then he has Tyrant Wave, a triple S attack that's fast. Sometimes having it as a fast attack will help you before the enemy attacks. And his damage passes are actually good. He starts with 13, and then he buffs his own STR by 25%, and then deals 20% more damage. When you look on this, it doesn't seem like he's strong, but I can assure you that I have been using him forever, and he is strong. If you have the monster version, you can just also use him as a more risky counter, but I don't suggest so. The main gameplay from this version of Forn is doing a lot of damage on turn 1 and turn 2 with AoE. Now the third character is Boston. Let's talk about him. The first attack, Horizontal Pincer, is not so good because it's a row attack with low power. Only C. The row and column meta needs higher damage attacks. But the second one, Sky Reverse, is much better. This one is a double S attack with Sun and Blunt that can debuff Endurance with a chance, depending on the intelligence. And you can just cycle Sky Reverse on turn 1 and then on turn 3 if you leave Horizon Pincer in 6. So if you bring him for raids, he can do 2 types of damage and just debuff Endurance from the enemy, so other characters will do more damage. But Endurance debuffs are actually not important in this game. Hardly you ever need them just to increase damage in raids, but in boss fights, unless it has extremely high Endurance, you can just skip this debuff entirely. The last attack is Ultra Earthshaker, and it's actually a very good inheritance to his most recent style, the one from iToken Banner. He can open with this attack, it's 8 power, 10 VP only, and makes him a better farmer. And with his passives, he has 25% chance to negate damage when attacked, 25% chance to buff all surviving allies STR and agility by 20%. This was actually pretty useful for some time, since we didn't have too many agility buffers. When triggers, it's nice in boss fights, it can help in evasion strategies. Then fired up, 5 increasing damage by 20%. His damage is not stellar, and right now he's only useful for Sky Reverse and Ultra Shaker inheritance to either his even older style that was limited in the first Monster for News banner, or to his most recent version of iToken banner. Now let's talk about Undine. She is a very supportive character with some good damage. The first spell is Shield. For 4 VP you get single target damage with C power and a chance to decrease dexterity. We don't have many dexterity buffers, so she kinda works. If you didn't get the last version of Will, you have a better usage of Undine. She's better on debuffing dexterity because it's an indirect attack. Then we have Rain of Life. This is an AoE heal spell that can revive. Has a high cost, 8 PP and 2 LP, so only 2 usages, but since she gets 4 PP a turn, you just keep 1 turn, you have Rain of Life available. And then the last attack is Ice Sky Lantern. This is an AoE attack that can debuff dexterity by medium, so instead of 15 from Chill, it's 20, but she cannot use it too many times. You have to use it on turn 1, and then you have to use normal attack on turn 2, and then on turn 3 you can use Ice Sky Lantern again. This is kind of her cycle, but eventually she needs to wait 2 turns to use that again. At least is Cold and Sun damage, but she lacks an AoE option here. She needs to inherit at least Ice Javelins from her teacher style, or you can amplify Squall, an attack from her S style, but that is not so good damage. I don't think that she stays so relevant for farming. She's more of a support unit. Support is all that we get with her passives. 25% chance to evade an attack and recover HP. Super useful in boss fights because evading a powerful attack can save you. And the second passive is actually one of the best ones in the game. When she attacks, she buffs her intelligence by 15% and recovers BP. Not many characters can have this. There is Witch's Daughter with this as well, and it's one of the best ways to keep doing damage and doing better attacks. Then fired up 5 increases her damage by 20%. So support, constant damage, gets stronger, and can heal the squad. A very good character for support if you need cold damage too. And the last character and last relevant is Ferdinand. You don't need this guy. He has a 1 BP attack that deals slash and pierce. All of his attacks are slash and pierce. But the damage is just D. It just doesn't matter. Then the second attack is actually good. Starry Rush is a random attack that hits between 2 to 4 times with slash and pierce damage. If you hit for 2 times, you get like 8 power damage. If you hit 4 times, you get triple S damage for 7 BP. That's actually pretty powerful, but relies on RNG. The good thing is the double element. And then the last attack, Flash Triple Trust, is actually very powerful for 8 BP cost. You get almost triple S damage. It's more reliant than Starry Rush, but this is all of his kit. There's too many competition on the Slash department, and even now on Pierce, that's why he's not so good. He has Tenacity, he revives once when he gets killed, and also increases Slash and Pierce to the squad, increasing his damage by 20% too. So there's too many generic things here besides the buff to the squad, and he was made for raids, but just that his damage is not even that high to justify. Okay, so we're talking about all the 5 styles in a fast manner because I already have reviews for them up. I just want to explain why would you want these characters or not. Of course, I still believe that you should look into the future most of the time. In my opinion, Matriarch is the only character that's really worth the pity right now. Since Undine is still very good, you can find alternatives. Forn is still relevant, very good farmer, but you do have Alosis now in the current banner and he can replace Forn totally, even doing more damage, although they do work well together. If you also got ScherBR, you don't need Forn at all. Boston is just an inheritance machine now, only giving other attack options to his recent style or his past one, and Ferdinand is totally skippable, forget about him. So if you get Matriarch early, just stop. You got the best thing. If you are too close for a PD, decide between Undine or Forn. They are still relevant like I said, but don't need to go for like 5 multi-pulls to PD then. You can just save your gens and summon on different banners. But that is my opinion. What is yours? Do you have Matriarch number 3? Do you plan to summon for her? Well, say here in the comment sections. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.